Well, hello and welcome back to Read Becca. It's time once again for my weekly chatty catch up on everything I've read, everything I'm currently reading, and everything I'm looking forward to reading, as well as some general lifey chit chat. And I think that this week is going to be a bit of a mishmash of things I want to talk about. So we're going to dive right into it. And I have my co-host Rue looking extra dapper today. So onto the book that I finished this week, and that was Silverborn, the fourth book in the Nevermore series, Morgan Crow, written by Jessica Townsend. And I also did the audio. There was a very lengthy hold for the audiobook, but I waited it out, and I'm so happy because Gemma Whelan is the audio narrator, and she's a great audio narrator. She also has, I can't remember if it's audiobook or podcast themed romance that she wrote as an author recently. So I do want to check that out as well. But anyway, the book. I can't really talk very much about this book because it is the fourth in a middle grade fantasy series. And unlike a lot of middle grade that feels very from a defined framework and repetitive in each book, this really builds on itself. So every entry, you are getting a significant progression of story and characters. So to talk about really much of what's going on in this book would spoil massively previous books. So we do have sort of a magic school element. We've got a lot of this feeling of deep magic and wonder to this series that I love, that for a lot of people, Harry Potter was the only series that sort of captured that feeling. And for me, Nevermore has really captured that feeling again. So I think this is a great place to go as a stand-in replacement for Harry Potter. But in any case, the theme or the overarching story of this is that Morgan Crow is this child in a fairly normal, relatively normal world, not our world, but a sort of secondary world. And she's somewhat cursed, so that she's very put upon and outcast, and everyone blames her in her area for any problem that happens. And so she has a really hard life as a child. And things are supposed to go increasingly wrong for her, but in fact, someone shows up from a further magical world that she didn't even know existed, and carries her off there to this really wondrous, amazing world that has this magical school, that she is somewhat special there and different. But over the course of the series, so many things have grown up out of that, and there's been a lot of conflicts, a lot of drama. This is not a light reading middle grade at all. It tackles a lot of nuanced content in a really middle grade friendly way. So in this particular book, I would say it takes a little while to get there, but there is a murder mystery at the core of the story here. And Morgan and her friends from school are kind of looking into this and using magic as well to do it. So I think that was very compelling and is something I've been really in the mood for, specifically mysteries. So that worked well for me. It also captures the sense of magic that I was talking about, in that each of the books in the series does have sort of a major holiday. And here we kick right off with that, starting with, we're at the celebration of Hallowmas, which is kind of Halloween, obviously. It's a spooky sort of holiday. And so you immediately get sunk into that feeling of a festival happening and everybody being around this wondrous thing, but then things kind of go wrong as well. But there are so many minor touches to make it feel real. Like the kids, Morgan and her friends, are having a sleepover, but because it's Hallowmas, it's a creepover. And I'm just so delighted, unreasonably delighted by the idea of a creepover, right? Like that just wins me over so much that Townsend thinks like that. And puns definitely abound. But so much of what's at the heart of this story is much deeper. To what I was saying about the messaging, like we have the concerned citizens who are kind of just saying, go back where you came from. And we get a lot of that real world analog messaging and exploring that in a way that doesn't sort of shove an answer in your face, though they are clearly the baddies. We also are getting these messages about things like chosen family versus blood family. We're getting messages of, like, really significantly at the core of this particular book is probably wealth and class inequality. And that plays out more in this book than any of the previous books, where Morgan is just kind of finding out about the sort of class system in this world. And that's very literally what the title is referring to. So like, think of born with a silver spoon in your mouth, and that's pretty much what this is talking about. The Silverborn are these elevated elites in this world. And So I thought that was all well done for a middle grade reader without being heavy-handed. And so often with middle grade, it can feel really heavy-handed. So I would say the downsides on this one are very minimal. This was a 5-star read for me. The downside is mainly myself. It's really internally, I think this is maybe the second one this year that I feel like I should have liked it and emotionally engaged with it more, and I just wasn't in the right mental place for that. But this is a series that I definitely intend to reread down the line at some point, either just because I want to reread it or because if we get to the end of the series, I think I probably will want to reread the whole series start to finish. So this was not a favorite book, but remains at a very high notch in terms of quality in an excellent favorite series, definitely. So I would continue to recommend it. As I said, it's a 5-star. It just was maybe not the right time for me to get the full enjoyment out of it because of what was going on with me mentally. So anyway, loved it and highly recommend the audio. So onward to stuff that I am reading now. I think I mentioned previously, or at very least during the August TBR, that I was intending to dive into some of the cozy Japanese and Korean shop novels. I put a load of holds on those, and slowly those have been coming in, but I've not really been reading them. So I am working on The Lantern of Lost Memories, and that is going well. I'm also working on The Adventures of Amina El-Sarafi by Shannon Chakraborty for my book club, and I need to finish that this weekend for the book club meetup. So that is definitely a priority. I think I have not watched anything this week in terms of finishing things. So I guess we're on to the Lifey section, the life and channel update section for today. I thought about making a separate video for this, but it kind of felt weird to make a separate video entirely just to say basically I don't really expect anything to change here significantly except for volume. So big change for me though, in that I made the very challenging decision right now to leave my job and take some time off to just sort of walk away from a career that I've had for over 20 years, which is very difficult, but I've been in this really intense, high-stress job for a really long time. And so this is probably a very classic midlife crisis where I'm in a stable enough situation in my life, in my housing, in my finances, that I can do that, to just say, okay, I'm done with this, at least for now. So I'm kind of jumping without it at this point to just see how things go. I feel like I have thought through that process as much as I possibly can, and other than the fact that there's a lot of instability in the world right now, I feel as prepared as I can be and as secure as I can be in making that decision. And I feel pretty good about it right this moment. It's very new, and I haven't really had time to let it sink in entirely yet. So it will be sinking in, but that is going to significantly impact the volume of stuff that I'm either reading or watching or whatever. That is kind of going to be the main thing I'm doing for a little while, just trying to slow down, really. I've been working multiple jobs at points, or more than full-time, certainly, including while going to school in college, since I was 15, basically, which is fairly common, but I just haven't ever really gotten any significant break since then, even over summers. So this is going to be interesting and new for me. And I don't know what that's going to look like right now. I am very much mentally resisting making plans and projects for myself. So all of us that have channels here know this phenomenon, but my brain is cluttered up with ideas I already have. And there are things that I know I definitely want to do video-wise. And so it will be nice to clear out all of that backlog of things that already are just cluttering up my mind. But other than that, I am, again, trying to avoid making any plans or major projects for myself. I am not going to even make a September TBR, I think. As I mentioned, I have piled up a bunch of those cozy shop novels, so I think those will definitely be on the horizon. I know for sure that I'm going to read BookTube Prize books. I have not started any of them, and I obviously knew this was coming, so I will be able to handle 3 BookTube Prize books in the next month easily. So that certainly will be TBR, but I'm not making an official TBR, I don't think, for this month. I'm just gonna kind of follow my whims and enjoy whatever I'm feeling at the moment. And that will probably mean voraciously reading and catching up on watching things I've been wanting to watch for a little while. There are so many things I want to do, but I'm trying to let my brain have time to sort of slow down and just get a little bit of a break before I dive into any of that kind of thing. And very, very specifically, like just not multitasking even is going to be a big change for me. So I think there will be a lot of changes for me, but not so much changes for you in terms of content or style. I'm not going to try to monetize the channel or grow significantly. I'm not planning to make loads of videos. So it will continue to be more of the same, hopefully. Who knows? Maybe I'll get down the road and decide to change things massively once I've done a brain reset. But for now, no. So I think that's really it. That's why I didn't need to make a separate video. But also, as a result of leaving, I got a bunch of random Bookish things because, of course, everybody knows me. That's my stuff. So I just wanted to show off my retirement haul. Basically, everyone's been joking that I'm temporarily retiring. So I got, first off, Life is Better with Books and Cats, or Cats and Books tote. And I also got a little mini coin purse of the same as well. I got a pair of socks, the F off I'm reading socks, and a I Could Pee on This poetry book, which I've seen around but I haven't read. And then I also got a very nice custom-made sweatshirt with a dumpster fire, like a cute, happy little dumpster fire on it, and custom messages on the back that are like sayings and words that are used at my work that we all hate, so to remind me of why I left. I also kind of randomly got given a couple of books, which doesn't happen very often to me. People don't give me books, and I don't have to borrow books because I have the library usually. But one of my friends gave me Lessons in Chemistry, which I have not read, but I think someone else gave it to her, and she was like, I'm not going to read this. And so she brought it up and knows that I read just about anything. So I have that on hand, and then I also got sent Atul Gawande's Being Mortal by my mother, which I haven't read, but am very, very intrigued by because it's been on my list to read for a very long time. So that's my mini stuff haul. It was very thoughtful, and I love that people immediately knew the Cats and Books were sort of the things to go to for me. I'm very predictable, very, very predictable. I brought up as I was, talking through leaving with people, of course, that I really would like to go do something that I'm actually passionate about versus what I've been doing for ages, which has been in the tech sector. And obviously that whole realm, pretty much everybody universally hates working there right now. So I have certainly considered and looked at the possibilities in terms of getting jobs with animals, working with animals. So that may be in my future. And of course, when I brought that up as a possible future for myself, path forward, everyone found it completely predictable and was like, yep, that makes sense. So I am very, very obvious. So yeah, I think that is it for my weird rambly discussion today. Big changes for me, as I said, but not hopefully for you. It feels freeing and exciting right now, but I'm not sure that it has set in quite yet. So we will see over the next coming several weeks how I adjust and whether I turn into just a couch potato and read and watch stuff all of the time. I don't know, but we'll find out together. So with that, I wish you a wonderful week in reading and in life, and thank you so very much for watching.